Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
Bosses are out there and they are wanting to use AI to boost productivity. However, 77% of employees, that's a lot of people, right? Say it just creates more work. Well, joining us to talk about this is our friend Matt Rosen. He is an AI expert, and he apparently has seen Terminator movies. So, like me, he knows how this is all going to end anyway. So, does it even matter what employees want and think, Matt?
Well, once Skynet shuts us all down, probably not. But in between now and then, I've read this study as well, and it does seem like there's a lot of employees that are just enchanted because AI has been so overhyped and the expectations are so high. And I would say most organizations haven't fully embraced it, learned how to use it, figure out how they're going to even measure productivity. So they're just like, hey, use AI, go. And, we expect you to do 200% more, but not really share with them how or train them or give them any tools.
Right.
And so there's definitely a challenge.
Right. I mean, I haven't used it very much at all. But, look, I have a friend of mine, and we went to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau in December. And they said, hey, come watch the game, because they're big Packers fans. I'm a big Bucs fan. And so we did. What they didn't tell us in December at Lambeau is that they had a suite, and myself and my wife, we were outside. No, really. And we had a little side bet, and the loser was supposed to wear the shirt of the other team. So my Buccaneers beat up on the Packers quite handily, and she won't put the shirt on. So I thought I could use AI to do it. That's not as easy as it sounds.
No, AI is probably not going to.
No, AI is not helpful at all. It will not do it. So I'm like, well, this is completely useless. So that's my only encounter with AI so far.
One of these days, I'm going to get you open ChatGPT and ask it some questions. One of these days.
Uh-huh.
What we found it's great for is automating tasks, creating insights, and generating content. And we're actually seeing some real productivity gains. So, as a consulting firm, we write a lot of software for a living. As we've armed our developers with these AI tools, and we measure them by output, quality of output, and their developer satisfaction. And by using some of these tools, it's helping them develop faster. It's helping them write tests faster. It's creating documentation that they probably wouldn't do anyway. And we're seeing 50% productivity gains. We decided we review everyone twice a year, which is a lot. I mean, we have 350 folks. And it takes a lot of time to write those reviews. Well, we uploaded a lot of feedback into AI versus also what we expect. And it created great starting points. It saved us 75% of the time that it would normally take to write reviews. People would take 8 hours, it's taking them 30 minutes to an hour to write a review. That was actually better quality than they used to produce on themselves. So as an organization, we are seeing huge gains leveraging this technology, but we've spent a lot of time and effort investigating how to do it and putting the right people against it. And, if all these other employers want to see these results, they need to invest the time and money either themselves or hire someone like us to help them figure it out.
Right, so that was the next question. Who's getting this wrong? Is it the employees who won't embrace it, or is it the employers who are simply saying, hey, we got you AI, have at it?
It's a mix of both, and I think organizations need to put someone in charge of AI that can keep up with it, because it's moving really fast. And then, they need to come up with data literacy and training courses and figure out which models they're going to use and train their employees. And then employees need to, in the knowledge worker role, just need to embrace it if they're providing that training. And there's a lot of free training out there. You can go to Google, you can go to Udemy, you can go to LinkedIn. There's lots of courses out there just to get a base level understanding of what it is. And most of the models themselves, like Chat, give you some instructions of how to use them. But it's like anything else, it comes with practice. It took 2 generations to adopt electricity. I'd argue it took a generation to adopt the internet. It's going to take 5-10 years before AI really makes people more productive, and then another 5-10 years after that, it's going to be Terminator, and we're all done.
Exactly right. As soon as we give it legs, we're in trouble.
And that's not that far away.
No,
We're
I know.
have humanoids armed with ChatGPT. Look out.
Yeah, better look out. So, will any of the things enable me to put a Buck shirt on my friend that won't stick to her side of the bet?
You know, you're going to need a robot or maybe two robots to hold her down. And
Oh, you mean physically put one on her as opposed to just on a photograph? So okay. So if AI won't put,
I could do that tomorrow. You give me a photograph and we could put a Bucks jersey on your friend.
oh well, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm sending it to you. That would be great. Thank you. I'm going to do that. That will be good because she's still going to have to keep the real bet, though. Okay, so this is a mixture of companies not willing to spend the money. There's nothing new there, right?
Right.
In terms of training people and just expecting it to improve productivity. And because it's not being done properly, a lot of employees are like, this is more work than it's worth.
Yeah, that's what that study seems to say. Honestly, what I've seen, Simon, is a lot of our clients aren't even sure where to start, and their people are actually out there using it. Like they're using Chat and Anthropic and Gemini, and they're coming up with things, and their employers don't even know. So a lot of people are using it for productivity behind the scenes, but then there's other organizations where they're expecting them to use it, but not giving them the proper training how. So a good way to start is just like survey and say, what are my employees using? And that's a lot of places where we have our clients start is, you know, they look across the landscape, look at the business cases, figure out where should we use AI, but then survey the employees to figure out what tools are you using already, what are you comfortable with? Because chances are about half your employees, especially if you have knowledge workers, they're out there experimenting with this stuff, and they're probably writing you emails with it and doing a lot of things. And, you know, until organizations dig in, investigate, then figure out how they want to leverage it and measure it, you know, you're going to kind of have it be a little bit of a wild, wild west is where we're at today.
Mm. Did you bring the crystal ball with you, by the way?
I always have a crystal ball.
Okay.
Whether it's right or not, never know.
We love talking to you. What is our world going to look like in just 5 years? I'm not like, hey, 50 years from now, are we going to be in starships? No, I'm not interested in that. What's our world going to look like in 5 years?
I think for those of us, you know, that are in the working world, we're going to have AI coworkers. You know, they may be humanoids, or they may be bots in the computer. I tend to think it's going to be more everything you do, it's going to be assigning tasks to AI and having it do things for you. Then you review it. There will always be a human in the loop. I think there's a lot of things that people do. We're not just going to hand over to AI. Like you have a lot of these customer service agent AIs that people just get frustrated with. But you arm a good customer service agent with an AI to help them answer questions. They become much, much more powerful and can handle things quicker and faster and be more satisfied. Because most of the people at the end of the day want to do a good job. Mm-hmm. So if you can hand off these minor tasks to, you know, an army of you know, AI coworkers, I think you're going to see people be able to work faster, produce more, be more creative. But it's going to take time for that to happen. People are going to have to embrace that, and it's going to disrupt some fields. But I think there's a bright future ahead. I'm not that pessimistic. I love the Terminator joke, so I think we're a long way from that. But I think AI is going to become our coworkers, and it's going to make us more efficient, more creative, and be able to get a lot more done.
So I'm pretty sure AI couldn't do what I do, but it could help me with the prep. But I'm not sure how I could limit it, because if I said, hey, get me all today's stories on presidential candidate Matt Rosen, I would have way too much source material sat in front of me as I sit down here to do the show. So that wouldn't work because that would be too much. So I would have to train it to say, you know, look, I want like the 3 best stories. How does AI figure out what the best stories are? And by the way, it would be the 3 best stories with 3 different sources, so we know we're not being lied to.
Well, you can ask for its sources, and if it's the right model is trained right, it'll tell you. But you can ask it to summarize. You can say, hey, I'm doing a show tonight. I want to talk about AI. I want to talk about, you know, water skiing, and I want to talk about the latest weather in Iowa. And, you know, get me a relevant set of talking points. And it'll give you something. I mean, if you the next interview with me, maybe say, hey, what should I ask Matt about this time? AI will give you as little or as much as you ask for. It will summarize it. It will give you things in different tones. It will even give you a list of questions to ask.
Oh, I never do that. I never have a list of questions ever. I don't. No. And really, I don't. And that includes for the president of the United States, who I've interviewed, because I'd much rather have a conversation, a free-flowing conversation. And if you have a list of questions, I've seen it happen. You're not actually listening to the answers. You're looking at question 5 and you're thinking, man, I hope he shuts up because I really want to get to question 5. And if he doesn't shut up soon, I'm not going to make it. So I never do it. I never do that. I always have a conversation. I just think you get much better interviews out of conversations than you do out of having a list of questions. So that's how I do it. AI is not going to be much help for me then, is it?
Maybe not.
It's not how my brain works.
List of ideas for your next show, and then you can take it and free flow with it wherever you want.
All right. Well, we'll see. Interesting stuff, to say the least. 77% of employees don't like it and think it's costing them more work. Matt Rosen, if people want to connect with you, where do they go?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. If you do Matt Rosen Aleda, you'll find me, or go to www.aleda.com, and we've got a whole bunch of information out there about AI.
We will have
hearing from you.
We'll have you back, my friend, and I'm going to send you a picture of my phone, and we'll see what you are able to pull off. All right?
Send it over. I'll see what I can do.
I will. You take care. Bye for now.